Welcome to another head-to-head review, guys. Driving two cars today, both of which have been on my bucket list for a very long time. Now, why am I comparing these two cars, the R35 Nissan GTR and the 987 Porsche Cayman R? On paper, they are about as far apart as you can get. This GTR, front engine, twin turbo, all-wheel drive, dual clutch transmission, super heavy, 3,800 pounds, while the Cayman R is a sub 3,000 pound, mid-engine, naturally aspirated manual transmission, lightweight sports car. But consider this, both of these cars are from the 2012 model year, and on the used market right now in 2022, you can get both of these cars in good condition in around the $65,000 to $85,000 price range. It's going to be much harder to find a Cayman R because there are just so few of them made. I believe the global number is less than 1,500. But a quick search on the internet yesterday revealed that there are good examples of Cayman Rs for $65,000 to $70,000. Now, this GTR is the facelifted 2012 model year. Chris, the owner of this car, has put on some basic bolt-ons, intake, exhaust, mid-pipe, and a Cobb Stage 2 tune, and he estimates it's now pushing around 500 to 550 at the wheels. It's got the legendary Atessa ETS all-wheel drive system. It's a front midship design, meaning the engine is actually behind the front axle, and it's got a rear transaxle with a 6-speed dual-clutch Borg-Warner transmission. It's got all sorts of techno wizardry and advanced VSC or vehicle stability control to keep you pointing in the right direction. It was considered a truly digital, forward-looking, technologically advanced powerhouse. But how does it feel now, nearly 15 years on from its original debut? Let's find out. We are going to set the transmission into race mode for the quickest shifts. We are actually going to back the dampers off into comfort mode for this bumpy canyon road, and we are going to put the VSC into race mode. Oh, are you kidding me? Oh my goodness, that's fast. There's definitely some turbo lag below around 4,000. Ah, yes, the column-mounted paddles. Not quite used to that. I always have to think where the paddles are when I'm mid-corner. Oh my gosh. That corner exit traction. Holy hell. Oh, that torque. Tons of feedback from this good old-fashioned hydraulic steering rack. You still feel that it's a primarily rear drive based all-wheel drive system. The rear end does want to step out on throttle, which is just fantastic. This is how an all-wheel drive system should feel in a sports car. Tons of mid-corner grip. How does a 3,800 pound car do that? That doesn't even make sense. Oh. Excellent brakes. We've got some Carbotech XP 12 or 10 front pads. Wow, that mid-corner grip. And the front end of the car is surprisingly pointy. Oh my goodness. Yeah, on throttle, the rear end, it gives you a suggestion of oversteer, just that little bit of rotation that you want. This car is insane. I've never driven a car this heavy that feels so light. Even the steering, it's not overly heavy and it's full of feedback. Transmission doing an excellent job as well. This is a 15-year-old dual clutch, but it feels still pretty quick out here. Over the 15-year life cycle of the R35 thus far, the car has received incremental improvement year over year. Oh my goodness. The way the torque just builds. It's a bit violent if I'm honest, especially with this Cobb Stage 2 tune. Those turbos kick in around 4,000, it just rockets you forward. I understand why people love the GTR. This is truly a laws of physics defying driving experience. Because you look at the specs on paper, 3,800 pounds, all-wheel drive, and you think to yourself, wow, it's probably a numb, heavy pig of a driving experience, but no, not at all. There's a lot of road noise, and even with the suspension in comfort mode, the car does jostle a bit over bumps. It is definitely no luxury car ride, but the trade-off is worth it. The extra weight of this car is intentional. It makes it handle in a way with a sense of security and stability that is just unmatched. Mid-corner grip for days, and I can so accurately place the front end. You wouldn't expect a car like this to feel so accurate. Dare I say I can place the front end almost as well as I can in like an S2000. Forget what people say about the R35 being a digital driving experience. Just because it has all-wheel drive and a dual clutch transmission does not make it digital, at least not in 2022. This is about as analog and a driver-focused vehicle as I've ever driven. Yes, I'm not heel-toeing and blipping my own downshifts, but nevertheless, this car is focused purely on maximum performance and driver engagement and enjoyment. From a driving dynamic standpoint, in the canyons, I honestly have zero complaints. It makes loads of power at the top end, but there's no shortage of mid-range torque. It's an excellent, excellent engine. Transmission, yes, it's not going to match the modern PDKs for speed or smoothness, but it does exactly what I want when I want it to. The all-wheel drive system is my favorite part of this car. This Atessa ETS, you can tell it's always engaging the rear tires. It can send up to 100% of the torque to the rear or redirect some of that to the front axle, which then gets split up with that front differential. And it helps give this car just a sprightly feel. You can be more aggressive with the throttle on corner exit and actually achieve small amounts of oversteer. And I'm sure on the track you can do big skids in this thing. What a high bar to set for a performance car in the $60,000 to $80,000 price range. I was not expecting this GTR to be so good. Let's hop into the 987 Porsche Cayman R. I have not driven a Porsche since I sold my 997.1 Carrera a few months ago, and I'm so excited to revisit the brand. So let's see if lightweight mid-engine analog still holds up against Godzilla. Welcome to the 2012 Porsche Cayman R, widely considered to be the ultimate version of the 987 chassis. Now, I am no stranger to the first generation Porsche Cayman. I used to own a 2006 Cayman S, which is part of the 987.1 generation. Now, this .2 fixes a lot of the issues that the .1 had. It has the 981 direct injection 3.4 liter flat six, gets rid of that pesky IMS, has a much more robust oiling system, and gives you 330 horsepower and 273 foot-pounds of torque. Compare that to Chris's GTR. Yes, this car is down probably around 250 wheel horsepower, but also consider that, the owner of this car weighed it in at 2,900 pounds. Now that is with this Sparco bucket seat, and this car does have AC and radio retained, but this is a much lighter car than the GTR, 900 pounds lighter. The only modifications on this car are a set of Apex wheels with Falcon RT660 track tires. Has also installed GT3 lower control arms and has aligned this car to around 3 degrees of front camber and around 2 to 2.5 degrees rear camber. So let's see how this car handles the same canyon road and how it compares to the much heavier and more technologically advanced R35 GTR. You gotta love the howl of a Porsche flat six. Oh yeah. This is a superior driving experience to a 911. I love how Porsche clutches feel. It's just so linear. There's a lot of weight to it, but it is the best feeling clutch of any car I've driven. Now listen to that engine. 330 horsepower in a 2,900 pound car. It's a healthy power to weight, but it is not going to push you in the back of your seat the way that GTR does. Look at this beautiful mid-engine balance here. Hydraulic steering, like the GTR, full of feedback. Gotta love heel towing, getting the perfect rev match downshift on your own. This is just a true driving machine. This car's got plenty of traction. I know we're on a very aggressive RT660 tire, but even then I can feel the weight of the car towards the back. Just helps the car settle and grip. Now, this car is definitely reminiscent of my Cayman S, but you can tell everything about it, the engine, the suspension, the chassis overall, is just that little bit more track focused. Now, out here on a bumpy canyon road, this Cayman R suspension with its uprated springs and dampers and anti-roll bars is quite harsh, I must say. I would not want to daily drive a Cayman R in the same way that I did my Cayman S. But there's no doubt that the reduced body roll and just quicker reactions of the car makes this a much sharper driving machine. But back to the question of how it compares to the GTR, well, I think we need to drive it a little bit harder to find out definitively. Huh. Gotta love that engine. You know, it's got good power, it's got adequate power, but it could still do with another 20 to 30. Whereas a car like the 981 GT4 really has the sweet spot of power at just under 400. This Cayman R could still do with a little bit more. Power's not really what this car's about. I think I'm just spoiled by the 550 wheel in the GTR. This car is all about being able to precisely choose your line and attack corners in a way that even the GTR, with how well it hides its weight, can't quite match. There is just no real substitute for lightweight and mid-engine balance. This thing just grips, man. It's not as playful as the GTR, actually. The GTR will actually step out on you on corner exit, but this thing with its mid-engine balance and its sticky tires just wants the grip everywhere. It's not a car I would want to live with on a daily basis. Maybe that's just a sign of me getting old, because I used to be fine with cars like this and like the S2000. Even though the GTR is stiffly sprung and it's got a lot of road noise, the extra weight does give it a sense of security and stability that this lightweight Cayman just doesn't give you. And this Cayman R is actually quite high mileage, 68,000 miles. You could probably find an equivalent example for around $65,000, which puts it right in line with the facelifted 2012 GTR. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but between these two cars, for my needs, I'm actually gravitating towards Godzilla. Maybe it's a sign of the times and a sign of me getting older and less willing to deal with lack of creature comforts and ride quality. But the GTR just manages to hit the perfect balance of performance and rawness and that driver engagement, combined with the fact that it's a fairly practical car. If I had to quantify the difference between these two cars, the Cayman R feels like it has 70 to 80% as much performance, while the GTR has maybe 80 to 90% of the raw, just pure fun factor of the Cayman R. But once you balance daily drivability into the equation, it really is no comparison. The GTR is really quite a unique beast. The way it delivers its performance and the quantity of performance combined with the daily drivability of the car makes it truly something special. So I hope this kind of oddball comparison was entertaining and perhaps a little bit informative for some of you guys looking to cross-shop some excellent driver's cars in the $60,000 to $80,000 range. If you have any other ideas for cars that you would purchase in this price range, or any requests for future videos, please let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.